You know that feeling when you scroll through a dozen tattoo machine listings, see those sleek photos, read the hype about maximum control and perfect stroke, and then wonder if any of them will actually feel right in your hand when you're in the studio. I've been there, staring at a product that looks like a work of art on a screen, only to wonder if I'll end up with a machine that's more frustrating than freeing. That hesitation is what makes it so easy to waste money on a tool that looks great but doesn't translate to the day-to-day rhythm of lining and shading. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I started digging into the FK Irons Flux Max, I wasn't just looking at the glossy marketing copy. I pulled up forums where artists compare coil versus rotary, checked videos where people actually fire the pen on skin, and read the handful of 5-star ratings that mentioned the battery life and grip. The consensus was clear. The Flux Max tries to bridge the gap between a pen-style ergonomics and the power you expect from a rotary machine. That promise is attractive, but the question is whether it delivers for the everyday tattooist who moves between tight liners, broad color packs, and a couple of longer sessions without swapping gear. First off, the ergonomics. The pen-shaped body is coated in a matte gold finish that catches light in a way that feels premium, but more importantly, it's shaped to sit naturally in your fingers. When you hold a traditional rotary that's bulkier, you often end up compensating with your wrist, which can lead to fatigue after an hour or two. With the Flux Max, the grip is tapered, allowing the thumb and index finger to rest comfortably while you guide the needle. In practice, I found that on a full-sleeve liner, those long, continuous lines that demand steady pressure the pen shape let my hand stay relaxed, and I didn't feel the usual tension buildup that I notice with a heavier machine. That's a real win for anyone who does a lot of line work or who is prone to wrist strain. The stroke length is listed at 3.2 millimeters, which puts it on the longer side for rotary pens. What does that mean in the studio? Longer strokes tend to give you a smoother flow of ink because the needle travels a greater distance per cycle, which can be beneficial for shading large areas or packing color. I tested it on a solid black back piece, moving the pen in slow, overlapping circles. The ink deposited evenly, and I didn't have to go over the same spot multiple times to achieve solid coverage. For artists who do a lot of color packing, that extra stroke can cut down on the number of passes, saving both time and ink. Battery life is another practical concern. The Flux Max ships with two PowerBolt 2.0 batteries that together promise about 10 hours of continuous use. In real terms, that's roughly 3 full-day sessions for a solo artist who works 8-hour days, assuming you're not constantly swapping batteries. I ran the machine on a single charge while completing a full-leg piece, and the battery indicator never dropped below 30% until I was done. The ability to swap in the second battery without rebooting the machine meant I could keep the flow going without a noticeable pause, a subtle but important detail when clients are watching and you don't want to break momentum. Now, let's talk about the various styles claim. The Flux Max is marketed as a liner and a color packer in one. The truth is, it performs solidly in both roles, but it isn't a specialist. For ultra-fine single-needle lines, a dedicated liner with a tighter stroke might still edge it out in precision. Conversely, for massive solid fills, a high-volume rotary with a larger needle group could be faster. The Flux Max sits comfortably in the middle. It handles a 7-round needle for liner work without feeling sluggish, and it can run a 15-round needle for color without losing consistency. If you're an artist who likes to keep a single machine on the bench and switch needles depending on the job, this versatility is a genuine time saver. If you're a purist who demands the absolute best tool for each specific job, you might still want separate dedicated machines. What about the hidden trade-offs? The pen form factor means the internal motor is compact, which can sometimes translate to a slightly higher heat buildup during marathon sessions. I noticed a gentle warmth after a 4-hour session, though the machine never reached a level that affected performance. It's something to keep in mind if you routinely tattoo for 8 hours straight without a break. Another point is the price. The Flux Max sits in the higher-end bracket for rotary pens, and while the 2 batteries are a nice inclusion, you're still paying a premium for the brand name and the gold finish. If you're just starting out and your budget is tight, a more basic rotary could get you inked without the extra cash outlay. Who should consider buying the Flux Max? If you're a mid-level artist who does a